So it has been about 4 months since my flock of quail were decimated by foxes. I came home from school one day and they were in a chicken tractor and they were completely gone. A little bit of a background story about my quail project. This is not something that I usually do regularly. I started it specifically as a classroom project last year. So I set the very first quail eggs on January 1st of 2023. And 14 hatched out. Out of that 14, a couple jumped out of the brooder, got lost. We haven't had the best luck with the quail. Going into summer, we had 7. So I said to my students, I kept them in my classroom in a chinchilla type style multi-tiered cage, and they lived there and they would lay eggs, and it was great and it was so exciting. So coming into this summer, I said to my students, well, I have a farm, we do meat chickens, it's that much more challenging for us to add quail to it. I will ask my husband kindly to build me a quail tractor, which he did. And I literally spent my entire summer collecting the eggs, incubating the eggs, hatching out those quail, and then adding them to my flock. And by the time September rolled around, we were up to 20 birds, and I was pretty happy about that. School starts for us at the beginning of September. I didn't take them in right away because I was like, well, they're just in a tractor right now. It'll be fine. I'll bring them back in a couple of weeks. We came home from work one day and my husband texts me. He goes out to water the cows and he texts me and says, you don't have any more quail, they're all gone. And he sent me a picture of this chicken tractor they were in, and there were 3 points of entry where it was dug out, feathers were everywhere, and there were no quail to be found. I started researching where can I get more eggs from or get more chicks from, and I never pulled the trigger on anything. And right before Christmas, the original source of the quail eggs that I had gotten them from last year contacted me and asked me to host a petting zoo for them at their local church, which I did. My husband and I did it, and it went very well. And one thing led to another, and I said, hey, do you still have your quail? Do you have any fertile hatching eggs that, you would be willing to sell me? I explained the situation to her, told her it would be a classroom project because I am an ag teacher, so I could have these things in my classroom. She did tell me that her quail weren't laying great as far as frequency is concerned, and she wasn't really sure about the fertility rate because she hadn't hatched any out on her own in quite a while. So she just donated them to us, and I was like, sweet, awesome, yeah, we laid them. I think I put them in the incubator on December 26th, and last night we started hearing some cheeping. Yes, this is a classroom project, but when I looked at the calendar, I didn't really have control over what date I got the eggs. So when I looked at the calendar and when they would tentatively be hatching out, I didn't want them hatching out alone in my classroom on a 3-day weekend for obvious reasons. So I set them in the incubator at my house in anticipation of that. And we actually got a Turner modification for quail eggs for the Nurture Rate 360. So let me show you my new babies. And here they are. So this is a 3D printed Turner where you just pull out the chicken egg Turner and you set this one right in its place and it works the exact same. So out of the 14 eggs that I set, 10 of them have hatched. And these little birdies, they pop right out of their eggs when they hatch. They're so speedy too. It's challenging when I go to open the incubator because they just go everywhere. What do you think of the baby quail? Do you like them, Blakey? Yeah. He loves his poultry. So I set up the brooder a few minutes ago, and later tonight we will take them out to the brooder and hope that it's warm enough out in that barn that they don't get chilled.